today, Monday, April the 14th. We have a number of people that have registered to speak during special presentations and public comments. I'd first like to ask our award-winning Cleveland Fire Chief, Chris Bates, to please come forward because our first presentation is by Miss Carol Burhin, Safe Haven Baby Boxes. Chief, I'll let you give a few opening comments and introduce Carol.
If you would come on up, I'll try to be brief. Good afternoon. I was approached, I guess, a couple of months now.
About 2 weeks ago.
Okay, about a Safe Haven Baby Box, and so I wanted to prelude her presentation with back in 2001, the Tennessee legislature passed a Tennessee Safe Haven law that basically says a mother of a newborn infant up to 2 weeks old that's healthy can relieve her obligation as a parent to a designated facility like a hospital or fire station. And so since '01, we've been designated as a safe haven facility. And so I'm going to leave the rest of this up to you and to tell your story, Carol. But I know when you step up here, they want to ask you to state your name and I'm a little.
Yeah, sure. I'm Carol Burhin, excuse me, and I'm hoarse. Mayor Brooks and members of the council, I really appreciate your sharing your time with me. I know that each of you want positive experiences for the people of your community, and I know that you value the life of a child through its whole lifetime. And I'm here to offer you an opportunity to act on those two things. But I'm going to speak to you from personal experience. Indulge me as we go back to 2010. My daughter and her husband live in Vienna, Austria. They were unable to have children of their own, so they signed up for the social system there to adopt. They received a phone call in September of 2010 from their social worker, and she said, a baby has been anonymously surrendered to the not safe haven, the baby nest in Vienna, Austria. Would you like to come and meeting? Today, that baby is my grandson, and I dearly love him. He's 5'9", he's bilingual, he travels to the United States regularly. We go to the beach with his cousins. He goes to space camp in Huntsville, and he's a real delight. I had a picture of him this morning out with his group of friends riding their bicycles in Vienna. So let's jump forward to 2023 when Knoxville announced that they had had a baby surrendered to their baby box, which had only been installed a few months earlier. And I called my daughter, and she said Chattanooga needs one. And so we got on the internet, did some research, hooked up with the Safe Haven Baby Box people. And Laverne Craig, who's a volunteer in East Tennessee, was assigned as our mentor. And she was unable to come today because of a health problem. So we got working on it with Phil Hyman, the wonderful fire chief of Chattanooga. And he was very enthusiastic about it. And our baby box, after 1 year of working on it, was installed in November, this past November. And 1 month ago, almost exactly to today's date, we had a baby surrendered in the baby box. And it was beyond words excitement for all of us because that mother had made a very difficult decision, but she saved the life of that baby. And you only have to watch some of the headlines from around the United States to see that some people are not making that choice of life for their babies. One was as close as Marietta, when a young teenage mother was found burying the body of a baby in her family's backyard. And that's not something we want. And the Safe Haven Baby Box people are in the business of saving babies' lives. So we had to find the money to do this, to finance it. And we started talking to friends. And one friend, Reed Taylor, stepped forward and said, just tell me what you need and I will fund it for you. And he did. And that's how we were able to afford our baby box. Reed has a special place in his heart for Cleveland. He was born here. He spent the first 6 years of his life here. His dad taught history at Cleveland State for over 30 years and was department head. And Dr. Jerome Taylor passed away about a year ago. Reed would like to gift the city of Cleveland a safe haven baby box to memorialize his father's love for Cleveland. And he was unable to be here today because of business. So I'm here to offer that to you. The fire chief has explained the baby box law, or the law that allows us to have a baby box. Reed will be funding the cost of the baby box as he did in Chattanooga. We hope to have it, that you will go along with this and be very supportive of this. It's a wonderful thing that Reed is offering to Cleveland. The baby box, just a very quick synopsis, is a unit that's installed in the exterior wall of the fire department. It has a door on each side. Inside of it is a bassinet with a blanket and a little hat for the baby, plus a packet for the mother, because these mothers typically have not given birth in a hospital. They can have given birth in a hospital, but they most often have not. The mother walks up to the box. It is anonymous. That's the one thing about this. There are no cameras on this. The mother walks up to the box, opens the door, puts the baby in the bassinet, closes the door. As soon as the door is shut, it locks automatically, and an alarm goes off within the firehouse to notify the firemen that there's a baby in the baby box. At the same time, a signal is sent to the EMTs, and the EMTs dispense an ambulance to the firehouse. The firemen retrieve the bassinet with the baby. When I talked with the firemen in Chattanooga the first time to introduce them to the idea, they said, "Do we have to pick the baby up?" And I said, "You will pick the baby up, I know you will." And so I went back about a day after they had their baby last month, and I said to the lieutenant, "I just want to know, did he pick the baby up?" And he said, "Oh, yes." And he said when we got to him, he was shaking like a leaf and holding this baby. The headlines show up everywhere when this happens. Facebook is amazing. The headline in Nashville that I found said, "The Chattanooga baby was loved, immediately loved." They said within 2 minutes. What a wonderful, wonderful headline. So the door, I told you, the baby's placed in the bassinet, the door locks, the alarms go off, the fireman picks the baby up. Once the EMTs come, the baby's taken to the hospital where it's checked out, and Department of Child Services comes and picks up the baby and takes custody. The mom has 30 days to question her choice, and in approximately 45 days, the baby's placed with an adoptive family. So it's a fabulous story, and as I said, I'm a grandmother who has a wonderful grandson. I have 2 other grandkids. I love them dearly too, but there's something very special about Benjamin. And so I wanted to share this with you, and on behalf of Reed, I hope you will seriously consider this for Cleveland.
Thank you, Ms. Burhan.
You're welcome.
Great presentation. Thank you, Chief. Any comments or questions from the council for Ms. Burhan? Thank you so much.
You're
We're very
welcome.
grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Fivas?
Yeah, and Chief,
Yes,
that you are working with this group, coming up with some agreements.
that's correct.
And so there's a.
There'll be some contract, probably some wording that we'll obviously need to consider and look at and maybe change with that. But the fact that there's a donor, Chattanooga has this box, East Ridge, Carol, I don't know if you're
They're the
familiar.
closest to here.
East Ridge has a box, and then there's 3 maybe up around Knoxville. And so they're,
And there are 20 in Tennessee right now, at least 20.
Okay.
They're growing all the time.
so there's a lot of details to be worked out.
Sure.
Carol wanted to come and present this opportunity, this gift, if you will, and for us to look at, consider, and that's certainly what we're trying to do. So,
And so when Mr. Kimball and everyone feels comfortable with the agreements, then we will bring them to the council, and that's when you would make a determination on if this is something that you would want to support.
I forgot to mention, the Kiwanis, or the Rotary Club of Cleveland has asked to partner with us, as has an Eagle Scout.
Great.
It's kind of a neat thing.
Chief, have you identified Station 1 as the potential location?
Well, yeah, we're, with the anonymous part of that involved, we are looking at some other stations.
Okay.
We would like to honor that where the mother doesn't feel pressured. So potentially one hall is, but I don't want to give you a definite. We're looking at
Certainly.
what stations would fit that.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Very encouraging. Ms. Burhan, thank you. Please thank Mr. Taylor for his generosity, and we're very grateful.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, real quick, is this something that Isaiah House, Renee would be involved with too? Would this be a good opportunity with the setting she has to help out when the child is left from the hospital? I mean, they do that now. I'm just asking a question on that part, if that would be a good fit.
I don't know as much about their operation.
Okay.
I think one thing of why fire stations are attractive is because you
Yeah.
have personnel there
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm talking about after the child is go by, after the hospital, maybe work with Isaiah House with Renee.
Yeah, well, I mean,
to help out with that.
if someone were to surrender a baby, you would call the appropriate social services
Social services,
and
yeah.
they would come
Okay.
and,
Well, she's working with them right now, so that would go
yeah,
hand
but
in
you would call the government first and then they would decide who's going to help, what's going to happen with that.
All right, thanks very much. All right, we have a number of friends who have requested during special presentations. I will begin with Miss Lisa Lovelace from Bradley Medical Center, and then I believe Mr. Matt Gibson from Siskin. Is anyone from LCCA?
No, not today.
All right. Although we know, if you would state your name for us so we can have it in the record.
Yes, I am Lisa Lovelace. I am the CEO of Bradley Medical Center, and it's my honor and pleasure to talk to you today. I want to say, first of all, that I have the deepest respect for what you all do for our city every day, all the time. And today I know that, it's for me a personal honor to talk about the future of healthcare. I'm going to do my very, very best to keep this brief, but there's a lot of information here. So I want to make sure that I'm covering that so that we can understand that the future of healthcare in Cleveland and how it's going to change dynamically as we move forward. Bradley Medical Center is becoming the place where innovation, investment, and compassion meet. And, this moment for me personally marks a full circle moment. I've spent almost 25 years in healthcare leadership, and I returned to my hometown with a clear purpose to do something different and offer something different in Cleveland with regard to healthcare. And so I'm super proud to be before you today to talk about those things. During my time in Dalton, Georgia, it was extremely rewarding. It shaped my understanding of what's possible when strong leadership and visionary investment align. That experience and Vitruvian's bold commitment to excellence made it clear that we could reimagine healthcare in our community. Today I'm going to walk you through the progress that we've made since August the 1st and the highlights about developing a 10-year plan, how exciting that is. And I want to introduce a new joint venture with Siskin Hospital, one that reflects a forward-thinking care that our community deserves. I'm grateful to have Matt Gibson here with us today. He's the CEO of Siskin, and he will be talking about that partnership a little bit later in our presentation. With regard to capital, Bradley Medical Center and Vitruvian have invested over $200 million in this community since we have been here in August. In June, Bradley is moving to the most innovative and universal EMR, or electronic medical record. It's called Epic, and it's used by major healthcare systems throughout the United States. And it will improve our care delivery system. We've added 3D mammography, which was much needed in our community, and it's the latest technology as it relates to mammography. We've had so many cosmetic improvements, and that really just signals to our staff our patients, and I hope our community, that there's pride and professionalism at our local community hospital. We've spent more than $1.2 million in beds and stretchers, and we did that to enhance patient comfort and to protect our staff. We have a much needed renovation of the parking garage that will be finished in the next couple of weeks. We've replaced facilities infrastructure such as coolers, chillers, and other core equipment that's essential for reliable operations. We opened 10 beds on the 5th floor just recently, so to help with our emergency room process. If you have been an admitted patient at our hospital, you know those wait times can be brutal. And so we're doing everything that we can to address that issue, and we have opened 10 beds with other holding areas that we have there as well. One of the most exciting things that I would like to mention to you is our expanded real estate. Our facility has been landlocked for quite some time. And if you're going to have a future in healthcare, and you're going to develop, and people are going to want to see that, industries are going to want to see that, then you really need to place in a plan for 10 years. I was with the previous facility for 10 years. And this is the first time I've ever had the opportunity to be involved in a 10-year plan. We have purchased the 5.5 acres across the street from the Moore family. And we're excited about what that future is going to look like. And I have a few renderings today that I'll share with you about some possibilities across the street on that new property. In addition, we've purchased 3 acres on Paul Huff Parkway. Again, that was from the Moore and the Hughes families, and we are looking forward to making more access for the northern part of our county to medical services. But you know, our investment, it's not just about buildings, it's about people, it's about relationships, it's about community. If you remember, we had the Tour of Trees kick off in November, and my favorite picture that is behind you is the one of our 2 mayors, where our Mayor Kevin Brooks gave Mayor Davis a flashlight because nobody could see. It was the night that the lights went out at Bradley, and that will forever be in our memory. So I'm excited about that outreach in the community. This is an overwhelmingly positive event that we received so many positive comments from the community, so many positive comments from the associates. It's an annual tradition that we're going to start as we move forward. Also, we have various community events and supporting of various charities, etc. We listen to our associates, and we want them to have the opportunity to support those charities that are special to them. There are so many more. We could have shown you so many pictures, but we decided we'd try to keep it small. Also, we have added 59 new incremental jobs. We've hired more than 100 positions that were previously vacant prior to the acquisition. And I'm proud to announce that we have just added a director of patient experience. His name is Jeremy Johnson. And the reason that we added that position that we haven't had there before is to champion a culture of empathy and responsiveness. I was super excited to bring him on board. Also, we've added enhancements to our current services. And when I say that, I mean we added technical staff so that MRI and CT availability was easier access for all of us. I remember a time particularly for me when I was trying to schedule my stepson to have an MRI, and it was 2 months out. We didn't go there. We didn't choose that. So when we bought it, that was one of the first things we knew that we had to address. We also added physician and nurse practitioner coverage hours in the ER because that's part of the ER throughput issue that we have. We added scheduling staff and phone lines to, again, improve the access for both patients and physician practices. We have so many more initiatives that are underway looking to enhance Cleveland's healthcare. I want you to know that we are working on a board, and as we move forward in the next couple of months, we will be introducing our full board to you guys. But that Mr. Alan Smith has agreed to serve as the chairman. I am so excited that Alan has decided to serve with us. I have served with him previously when he was the chairman of Cleveland Community Hospital. And so when we purchased, we being Vitruvian, purchased this facility, Alan was the first person who came to my mind. I didn't think he would say yes, but I cannot wait to serve with him. Also, we're excited to announce that we're going to bring back the Bradley Healthcare Foundation. This will allow the community members to participate directly in growth and the future of local healthcare. I'm also proud to announce that Leslie Painter will be the foundation director. She will be joining us in June. We're not only restoring what's missing, but we're building what's next. As we develop our 10-year facilities plan, we have a forward-looking approach to infrastructure and strategic goals. We have a new medical office building rendering that should be behind me right now, and that's an actual rendering from it's been modified from our Calhoun, Georgia campus that we have, that Vitruvian has. That's something like we would be looking to put on one of the area properties that we now have, because we have expanded our footprint. In addition, one of the things that we all know that we need to update is the Women's Center. So we should see a draft rendering of what would be the Women's Center. And there's a catwalk across the way, because that would be across the street at the new location. We're looking at other growth plans, so we have not named what this would particularly be, but this is on the other side of the Women's Center and would still be across the street from the current hospital in Chambliss. And we're talking about what those strategic alliances and partnerships would look like. Our president and CEO, Jeff Myers, he has something that he loves a lot, and it's waterfalls. So he's been looking for the place to put his waterfall since we were there on acquisition day. So what we have looked at doing is opening up that courtyard and making that a community space that's available for community events and other meetings, etc. And his waterfall is in that area. In addition, we know that we need to expand the medical ICU. That's determined by population growth and current utilization. We also have on our list updating the endoscopy suites and additional beds on the 5th floor. We've opened 10, but we need to really create more based on the amazing growth that we have here in Bradley County. And we are looking to be able to complete that renovation hopefully in the next, it's on the 1 to 3 year plan. I'll say that at this time. At every stage of this journey, our goal is clear: to make Bradley Medical Center a place where you, your family, and your neighbors, because they're mine too, can feel confident in the care that you receive close to home with the people that you know and care for you and are committed to this community. We are looking to move forward as part of our strategic initiative, again with Siskin. This was a partnership that actually started in 2021. I left in 2021 and went to Dalton, and Siskin and Tenova then had a joint venture and a certificate of need that was approved for the same for inpatient rehab beds on our Westside campus. Matt Gibson, I'm so thankful to have him here with us today, is going to speak a little bit more to what that looked like, because we do plan to reapply for that CON, and we have filed the letter of intent to do so. So Matt, if you don't mind, I will give it to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. It's clearly an exciting time for the citizens of Cleveland and Bradley County and the overall region. Mayor and members of the council, thank you for the opportunity to be here with you. The growth in your community is very impressive, and thank you for bearing with us and putting these up. We just not sure how visible the screen is to everybody behind me. Just wanted to share the information that we're going to talk about to ensure that everyone can see the information. It's very exciting, this partnership. As Lisa mentioned, we went down this path several years ago and had a full partnership executed and full plans developed, certificate of need approved, and we're on our way. But with the transaction that took place locally, we got slowed down a little bit, but we're very excited to resume these efforts. Before I talk a little bit about the partnership, I just want to share a little bit more about Sessino Hospital. One of the gentlemen with me today is our Chief Operating Officer, Aaron Spinks. He's been a resident of this community for 35 plus years. Our Chief Nursing Officer, Tracy Reed, has lived in your community for 10 years. We have had a clinic, Sessino Hospital, in your community for almost 20 years. So we are absolutely a part of the fabric of this community, and I anticipate we've treated some of your loved ones, some of your neighbors, some of your fellow members from church over the last 35 plus years. And Sessino Hospital's mission is to give people their lives back. Whether they're 100 years old, and that means spending time with great-grandchildren, or they're a spinal cord injury patient in their teens, and everything in between. Whether they're law enforcement, whether they're busy dads or moms, whatever that means, we work extremely hard every single day to help patients get back to doing what they love. And what this partnership with Lisa and her organization, Bradley Medical Center, is all about is how do we enable folks to stay a little closer to home to receive that exceptional care. And that's what this new facility will enable. Roughly 30 beds on the West Side campus, and we'll show you some renderings of those, but that is what we were focused on. So just a little bit more about Sessino Hospital. Y'all are probably pretty familiar. We are the largest inpatient physical rehabilitation hospital in the state of Tennessee, actually in multiple states in our region, and we're one of the largest in the country. And the only reason we mention that is we feel like there's a correlate to quality outcomes because of the volume of patients, spinal cord patients, brain injury patients, stroke patients, that our physicians, that our physical therapists, that our occupational therapists, and so on, and speech pathologists see every year versus smaller organizations. So our folks are extremely competent, but they're also very caring. Again, if we have touched your family in any way or your neighbors, you know the very intentional, personalized, caring approach that we pride ourselves on in helping patients get their lives back. We get a lot of recognition, and again, this is just context. Again, hopefully you've never had a catastrophic injury or your loved ones have not, but we are regularly acknowledged with external recognition by national organizations, whether it be U.S. News and World Report, in this case Newsweek, locally Best of the Best, and it's all different aspects of our organization. It's our skilled nursing facility, it's our inpatient rehab hospital, maybe our outpatient therapy clinics, maybe our fitness center. We have a fitness center open to the public. So we're just really proud of what our people do for literally thousands of patients every year. And since we opened in 1990, in February of 1990, we have been treating residents of Bradley County and Cleveland since the first year we opened. And over time, we've treated thousands of residents of this community. Sessino Hospital is nonprofit. We've always been nonprofit since we were founded. We've always been based here in Tennessee, based in Chattanooga. I am only the third CEO in 35 plus years, and I mention that nothing to do with me. I mention that to reflect the continuity and leadership that our organization has been fortunate to have. And it's really reflective of who we are. And we're trying to serve members of this community and other communities across the region. I mentioned our outpatient clinic. We've been here on Keith Street for right at a little under 16 years. Before that, we were on APD 40. We provide physical therapy, outpatient physical therapy at this clinic every single day. Outpatient occupational therapy, outpatient speech therapy. A lot of different outpatient therapy clinics may just have PT. We provide all three. We have exceptional therapists. Again, I hope you haven't had a weekend warrior injury or something more significant. Former patients from our hospital come to this clinic, but I just want y'all to know we've been in the community for almost 20 years. So. This is a brief, very brief, I promise you, 1-minute video, but it highlights our people. Our people are why Sessino Hospital is exceptional and why your loved ones are getting better and your neighbors when they come to our hospital. And this just gives you a brief sense of our people that I think y'all might enjoy. So, and just that volume right there. See that mute button? There you go. Just something over. Oh, go back.
2022 started like any other day for Tim Rice. He woke up. For over 30 years, Sisskin Hospital for Physical Rehabilitation has created an environment where it's fun to make a difference.
At Sessino Hospital, we believe in putting lives back together, one patient at a time.
Our dedicated team works across a range of programs, whether it's inpatient care, subacute rehabilitation, outpatient therapies, or a vibrant fitness center.
We're here to support you every step of the journey.
Our team reflects the community we serve.
Together, we create a rich tapestry of skills and backgrounds.
Proving that caring people can truly change lives.
We care for those who care. Our community values collaboration,
Respect,
and a joy in what we do.
Here, every day is filled with life and purpose. It is not just a job, it's a chance to make meaningful connections and create positive change.
We are
we are
sincere, innovative,
encouraging,
Dependable,
community-driven,
kind,
motivators.
Compassionate.
lifelong friends.
we are caring people, changing lives.
Thank you for allowing us to share that. We just wanted you to get a little bit, these are truly, everybody in that video is an associate at Sisskin Hospital. And we're just very excited to bring this care closer to your home. Fundamentally, we are growing. There's a lot of unfortunate, as our state is growing and our region need for our services, and we just want to make it a little bit more accessible for residents of this county and surrounding counties, and obviously this city, to receive this exceptional care closer to home. So what's that going to look like? So y'all are familiar with Vitruvian Bradley Medical Center's West Side campus. There's a picture here. I think there's a picture on the screen. So this facility would be in a portion of that campus, and it would have roughly 30 beds. There's another rendering that Ms. Dinger has that will show you the floor plan, if we can put that up so folks can get a sense. Again, you're familiar with this campus over the years, but as Lisa said, this is really a reimagining of this campus. It will involve extensive renovation as far as the rooms and a large therapy gym. Again, if you've been to our main campus, you know that there is a large gym, close to the size of a football field, where patients receive therapy, physical therapy and occupational therapy every single day. So that is conceived to be a part of this new exciting facility as well. So as Lisa mentioned, we'll be going through the State of Tennessee's Certificate of Need process, and assuming that is completed successfully, that we envision it will be, as we went through that process previously and have for other purposes over the years, we can start construction, start the renovation basically immediately as soon as this fall. So we're just extremely excited. We're excited about the future of healthcare in this community and what Bradley Medical Center under Lisa's leadership is poised to do, and we're excited to bring what we've been doing for 35 plus years closer to home for y'all. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and Lisa, I'm sure, is too. This timeline's up on the screen as well. So just really, really appreciate the opportunity, Mayor and members of the council, to talk with y'all about where we're heading and why we think it's important to make this care a little bit more accessible.
Thank you, Dr. Gibson. Any comments or questions from the council for Dr. Gibson or Lisa Lovelace from Vitruvian Bradley Medical Center?
Dr. Gibson, I got a question. How would this campus layout, how would this enhance the services you provide now versus what you have right now in our community? How would that impact the people we serve?
Great question. So today we offer outpatient therapy in your community and have for almost 20 years. So outpatient physical therapy, outpatient occupational therapy, and outpatient speech therapy. Let's say, heaven forbid, you tweak your knee this weekend, running or walking, or you're a former patient from our hospital, whether it be brain injury, stroke, spinal cord, and you need therapy for years. So we treat everything in between. So that's what we offer today. Very busy clinic on Keith Street. What we're talking about here would be an actual inpatient hospital facility, similar to the roughly 100 inpatient beds we have in Chattanooga. So this is on a smaller scale, but it would be an inpatient service that is not available here in your community today. So there will still be, to be fully transparent, some patients that, because of the specialized equipment and protocols, high-end complex spinal cord injuries, for instance, that need to come to our main campus in Chattanooga. But there will be other patients that can be treated in this inpatient facility closer to home on the Bradley Medical Center West Side campus. So today it's outpatient, this would be inpatient. That's the simplest way to describe that.
Great. Any other comments or questions? Vice Mayor?
I should know, but I do not. When we're talking about these rehab services, does that include pediatric care?
No, it does not. It's for adults. And they're actually, that's fortunately, there aren't the volume of catastrophic injury in pediatrics. We do not offer a pediatric unit today. There's discussions of Vanderbilt starting a unit in Nashville, but it would be a single digit as far as the number of beds. And again, thank goodness, as a parent of 3 very young children, I'm thankful that there's not as much need. So no, this is adults only. We treat folks in their teens and up.
That's my next question.
Yeah, mid-teens. It's really a consideration to be in our hospital. In a hospital like ours, you have to be able to, as a patient, tolerate on average 3 hours of therapy per day. So that's a lot if you've recently had an amputation or 2 or a brain injury. So it's a lot to tolerate, and really our determination, if you can come to us at 14 or 15 or 16, is specific to each case, and can you tolerate that therapy, your weight, so forth. It's not just a hard and fast age. So.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Councilman Moore?
Mayor, I just want to say how breezy and easy it was negotiating with you folks, and we are so proud and excited to have this addition on my family's property.
Thank you so much. We are too.
And I'll close with that to both organizations. We're so thankful for the long-term commitment and investments that you all have made in the city and to our community, and to those of us who have used your services, one or the other, or both in some cases. And I'm personally thankful, and thanks for the investment going forward into the future. So thank you all for coming today.
We're honored to do it. Thank you.
All right. We have had special presentations by Safe Haven Baby Boxes, Bradley Medical Center, Siskin Hospital. Is there anyone else seeking to address the council during public comments at this time? I'll make that opportunity available. Dustin, it's good to see you. Great haircut over the weekend. That takes us directly to the city manager's report. Mr. Fivas.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor, City Council. We're going to start off today with a couple presentations. Brian Turner is going to come up and give you the latest and greatest on the Tinsley Park rehab, and show you some kind of what pavilions will look like, and kind of give you an idea of, you know, if you haven't been there, it's an absolute mess, and I wouldn't suggest going to check it out, because there's dirt and stuff everywhere. But
take my
Brian,
word for
come
it.
on up, and then we'll go through that, and then I have all the way to N for a number of items to update you on.
And is it Nancy?
Yeah, I'll talk fast.
Wow.
And Brian,
Welcome, Mr. Turner. We just like to tell people, pardon our progress.
That's right. It's a mess, but it's a mess for a good reason. So,
that's right.
So just as a reminder, this is the overall site plan of what we've got going on out there. So I'm probably in the way, but I'll try to get out of the way a little bit. We have the renovations to the softball complex, which we've talked about before. We have the pickleball in the middle. Let's see, does this work? I'll just speak loud. I'll start over on this end. We're working on some renovations to the dog park and make that larger. We've got some improvements to the way that road ends right now, because right now there's dead ends and there's not a way to turn around. So we're working on increasing that ability to turn around there and also improve the parking. We've got some volleyball courts that we're proposing to put in. We've got the pickleball that's well underway, and then we've got the overall improved parking and softball. So that kind of is the big picture, but we can look a little bit about what some of that's going to look like, specifically the pickleball. I think my clicker, there it goes. So this is what it's looking like right now at the pickleball complex. You've seen the big covered area. That is for some covered courts. That is not the main pavilion though. The main
And it's not for
pavilion-
church. I've gotten
It's-
that on Facebook.
It is not for church. It's not for church. The pickleball pavilion I'm going to show you the rendering for will be located right there in between those columns and that blank site there in front of the championship court. The walls right now have planters built in, so when this is finished, there will be nice landscaping and everything at the entry to that. This is the rendering for the main pavilion that will go in front of the championship court. So there's an enclosed area in the middle that we can use for events, like a pro shop type thing when we're having tournaments and stuff out there. There's also some storage space and stuff like that for city use inside that building. The back side will have a screen on it that can be used for brackets and that kind of thing, that and court reservations. And then there will also be screens on the covered areas on either side. So both sides of the pavilion will have seating and covered area underneath that for watching the games and just hanging out in between. And then that's the overall layout. So that pavilion will be right there in the middle at the bottom, that rectangle that's there. The other building I can show you is there will be a restroom building that's going to serve primarily the pickleball, but it will be located in such a way that it can serve other people out there at the park, whether they're at softball or just off of the, it's really just right there off of the parking lot. And this is the renderings for that. So we're adopting a new kind of look out there where all the new buildings that are going in will have a similar aesthetic. They'll be same colors, same materials, and that way it kind of creates some cohesion out there. And then we'll be going back and making some minor changes to the pavilions that are already over at the playground and tying them in with the materials that are going in for the new pavilions.
How about the sign on Keith Street?
That will also be changed to tie in with the new aesthetic out there.
Yeah.
Well, the bathroom that you mentioned, will it also have greenway access?
It
looked to be close on the rendering, but I don't
Yep.
exactly, sometimes I can't read those fast enough.
Can you go back to that? I can get the clicker to work. Yes, one more. Go the other way. Yes, it is.
There you go.
It's right there, and that is the greenway that's coming in right there at the Castile connector. So yes, it will have
I know
access.
there's restroom around the corner as well. They'll
Yeah.
stay, even though you're.
That's
it's gonna
correct.
Stay?
Yeah,
Okay.
they'll stay.
Thanks.
Yeah, run. I run through there every other week or so. And one thing that bothers me a little bit, and I know it's got to be on your game plan, but as you go in, the road's elevated, and at one time, that subdivision had a fence that, I guess on the property line, it's in bad shape.
Okay.
And it's grown up bad.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great if that was cleaned, maybe a new fence, and it kind of looked like Johnston Park going in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
we
think
can
you
take a
can handle
look at
that?
Why not? Sure.
Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, we can take a look at that.
Yeah. So, do we kind of have plans on the landscape, don't you?
We're getting there. I mean, right now we're trying to get the bid package out for that, for all those buildings. So we have areas that we know we are going to improve and that we have landscapes, but we'll get more in those details once we get the ball rolling on some of the other bigger buildings.
Will that
are
be
out there.
in-house, kind of like you did?
Yeah, all of this is in-house so far. All the pavilion design and everything we're doing ourselves right now.
Okay.
So,
And I heard you say, Brian, the plan for the end of the street that just dead ends right there at that, basically the playground pavilion. As I recall, right there at that dog park entry, there's a lot going on, but there's also a dumpster just sort of right there.
it's already been moved.
Great.
But at the end of that now, there will be a stone wall. We're looking at sort of a plaza design type of thing there. So there will be room for the cars to turn, but then there will also be an area beyond that that is separated off as more of a plaza with some stone and planters and other kind of features that connects the greenway in to the pavilion and all of that stuff. It's kind of a major hub of intersection stuff there. So that will all be improved.
Great. And I heard you say that the pavilions were going to be upgraded. Is there any plan for the current playground equipment up on the hill to be?
Not right now, but we can always look at that, but
Sure.
not right now.
Okay.
How many new parking spaces?
Jonathan, do you know how many new parking spots?
No, I want to say it was like 170, but I'll get you the.
A lot.
exact number. It's
I'll just say a lot.
The parking goes all the way down now. And then if you can see, I don't know, it in
Show-
front
show
of
them
the
where the new
existing
parking will be.
pickleball, we have 2 rows of.
This is all new, that whole strip on the other side, that's going, because that's a road right now and it's not parked, parking's not loaded on both sides. And then the area, the main area where parking is right now is being restriped in a way that is more efficient, allows for better traffic flow and more parking also. And then the other thing is there's a sidewalk along the whole thing now, so you can walk from one end to the other without walking down the road. Which is
Great. Councilman Goff and then Moore.
I noticed the fence around the skate park's removed. What's going on there?
So we are making some improvements to the skate park and moving some of that around. It doesn't actually have to be in a fence. That was one of the things that we talked about. And I think there's probably some desire not to have it fenced in just because
It's a maintenance issue to weed eat around it and all that stuff, and the fence kind of was tired, so we got rid of it.
But there will be some new concrete out there and a little bit of shifting to accommodate the new volleyball courts.
Perfect.
Councilman Moore?
The fencing at the dog park, the entry and exit,
Yes.
are we redoing that?
Yeah, that's all being redone as part of the plaza. So you can kind of see a little bit here. That'll all be paved through there, but with a center planter that's raised up with a seating wall on it. So that way we don't have the...
Drainage, will it help with that?
Yeah, it will help with that.
It turns into a mud hole.
It will help with that. And then the dog park that's on the far side
Small
here.
dog.
The small dog park is actually going to end up being much larger and accommodate all that. It'll be in all those where those pines and stuff are there out there now.
It'll double in size.
Yeah, it'll go all the way to the greenway and increase that area.
Good, good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Brian, I just want to thank you for what you do for the city.
Thank you.
Not only for Johnson Park, you led that on that part, Tinsley, the Summit, the city chambers too, all that. So next time I'm gonna bring some balls and let you juggle and see how you can juggle. Okay? Because you're already juggling a lot of projects.
Appreciate that.
And I do appreciate your attention you give to that, and plus other staff too, with Joe, Jonathan, and Tommy, y'all working together on that part. I really do appreciate it, and what y'all do for the city.
Sure, thank you.
good words,
Yeah.
Councilman.
Yeah, by the way, landscaping coming in that we're talking about,
Yeah.
can we put water on it?
Yes.
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 I like that.
I'm going to segue off Councilman May's landscaping because I love Johnston. I
know
love
it.
I love the ideas of making this Johnston-esque,
Yeah.
Johnston 2.0. But
Yeah.
my immediate thought to both you and to Mr. Five is, since we're in the budget season, is this going to require additional staff? Because if you're adding this much more to our plate and services to the city, has that been taken in consideration of more people to take care of the grass and the lawn and more plants than we've ever had in a tree city in our history? I'm asking for a friend.
We asked for some.
We've asked for some.
Okay, good.
yes.
So that's been talked about.
Yes.
Good.
Mayor, I know the ditch witch. Jonathan knows how to run a ditch witch and how to lay lines out through there, so.
That's awesome.
I've seen him do that, so.
In the
That's
meantime,
awesome.
we're taking volunteers, so.
Yeah, I'm like, liability jumps in my head when you say Jonathan Job's doing a ditch witch.
Spread them all.
And then my last follow-up question is, I love the screens, the idea of video screens, but I immediately think, does Chris have a plan to increase the number of cameras to protect those screens?
Yes. Yes. Can you go back to the rendering for that also? The pavilion rendering? Yeah, so we've got, we'll have several places there that we can mount cameras on and stuff. There's, it's hard to see here, but there's a total of 3 screens that are going to be out there. But as far as cameras, yeah, he's already been working on camera footage. The reason I went back to this building is all the network and stuff will be housed in a storage room inside of this building. So we have made plans with conduit and that kind of thing to handle all that expansion out there.
We'll have Wi-Fi in that pickleball area.
Yep.
What kind of screens are you talking about, Brian?
So those that are right there, those will actually be TVs, outdoor TV type things that will connect to a computer that's inside. So if you're having a tournament or something like that,
Maybe
you can
put
post
results
which court is for which game and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Just
Do we
like
have concessions? Sorry.
Yes, yeah, we can sell concessions out of that. And there's also another building for the softball that we can also do the same thing.
Just like the Masters, you can check the score right there on the board.
Were you gonna say something?
No,
I think it's really important that from, and I think we're trying to crunch the numbers, is that we've had a lot of interface with the Pickleball Association, is they continue to tell us that when we get this thing completed this summer, that that'll probably be one of the premier tournament destination for a lot of things. So I think they're underplaying it, but the sophistication as far as the conduit and putting in sound and being able to have a championship court, and you can show them the championship court, and
I'm not sure if I can.
and that this is meant to bring a number of tournaments.
You can go back to that.
We've already applied to have some national tournaments, and to bring in all kinds of regional tournaments. Is that this will be a very, very active location, not to mention that it'll be a premier location for just league play, and right now, you know, they have, you know, hundreds and hundreds of people in the Pickleball Association, but also we also want to cater to the people that aren't a part of the Pickleball Association to be able to get out there and play. We have designated a staff person who not full-time job, but they'll do the tennis, softball, and pickleball out there, and we'll recruit tournaments and take care of the leagues and do a lot of that. So you're going to see a lot of time and attention towards that, and we already have that person in place, and they're working on that.
As well as disc golf, right?
As well as disc golf.
Great. Councilman Goff?
Just along with Tinsley Park, quick question on the status of the pool.
It should start this year.
That's a year by year. It's a year by year.
Good.
You know, it continues to go. I think our conversations are continue to intensify. That I think everyone here that knows that it's on its last hurrah over the last few years, and we have to determine what the next reiteration of aquatics in Cleveland will look like. We've had a lot of conversations over the last several years, and we need to continue that. A lot of that is a funding question. There's other alternatives to have an outside pool that can have a dome during the winter. There's building indoor, outdoor facilities. There's all kinds of opportunities that we'll need to discuss. But right now, it will likely, we hope, cross our fingers, fire up this spring, and it'll be business as normal for a Tinsley Park pool, but which is not the best, and it certainly needs you know, we've held off on investing heavily in that until we really answer the question of what's our next move out there.
Councilwoman McKenzie?
As far as the TVs that are going to be out there and the cameras that are going to be there, is there going to be any other protection or someone being there on the property to protect those items? Will the park be closed during the night? I'm just wondering about protecting the investment we're making there.
I think that's a really important question, of course, is the camera system that will be installed will be high impact. It will cover a lot of the area, and now that we have CPD monitoring cameras. We can give you a number of incidents where we've, in a live way, have gotten people doing their crime thing and have been able to respond to get them. But I think that our experience is that the cameras have been pretty sufficient. It's actually, in some ways, even more effective because you can have eyes on it there. You know, as you know, we've added cameras to Civitan Park, to Deer Park, to Mosby Park, to I'm probably missing Johnston Park. Is that it's definitely an upgrade. Because of more people there, will we likely have CPD do more patrolling there during their time? Yes, yeah. But we won't have someone stationed there 20, during the
I
day.
was thinking more during the night, midnight, from midnight, say to 5 in the morning, anything
Yeah.
extra that we could do to keep any vandalism.
Yeah, well, we have found that our electric door locks on the restrooms, that's where we get most of our vandalism is in our restroom facilities. That our electric door locks have gone a long way to reduce that. And then areas, in fact, that we used to have all kinds of lights that have been out. My friend behind me would report them about once a week. But since we put our camera system on the Greenway, we're not getting those types of vandalism type incidents. Cross our fingers, and I'm not saying that will eliminate it, but we think that that's a deterrent to that type of vandalism. We have found that at our new areas that we've spent time in, we don't get vandalism at our new, really nice areas. It's more in the areas that we haven't revitalized yet that get more of the vandalism, which is more psychological than anything, I guess.
That sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions for our friend, Mr. Turner? Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
And the pickleball folks are out there literally almost 24 hours a day, in a good way.
In the pickleball area, it's fenced, so there's only one way in and one way out of it.
Yeah, and that's a good point, is that we have, like, those areas, like the softball complex will have a fence around it, and then the pickleball areas will have fence around them, and they'll have cameras on who can get in and who can get out, and we can see that in real time.
Our citizens will be able to use that pickleball sport too, right? Our citizens, they'll be able to use the pickleball court.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, our pickleball world will change, and we'll probably bring those rules to you fairly soon, and how we administer that to provide fairness for use for everyone. A lot of it will be automated, and I think it will be much different.
Our friends from Siskin are making notes on 24-hour pickleball. They're quickly texting. I can see it.
Any more questions on any of that? As Brian said, is our next steps they're out there working right now, mostly putting in stormwater and starting to where sidewalks and all that, those new facilities will be, so it's pretty much a mess. But at the same time, Brian will bring us, it's going out to bid, and we'll bring back bids to build all that stuff, and that will be a third party that will build all those things, and then we'll probably finish up with the softball and the pickleball, the new dog parks and the pavilion areas, and then we'll pave our way out, going out.
Councilman May?
Yeah, Joe, changing subject a little bit, Corps of Engineers. Did we get something worked out with them, Tinsley?
On Tinsley, not yet. They're still working on the other side with a cost estimate of what that'll cost.
You think they'll be on the north side
Yeah,
of Mouse Creek?
They've abandoned the park side for sure. They're costing out the other side, and if it's astronomical, we'll probably cut the project, but if it's reasonable, we'll do it. They're actively looking at the other side.
Okay.
No impact to the city.
Knowing, yeah, they know we can't, I mean, I'm tied over there now.
Yeah. Good.
Any questions anymore on that? All right, we will move on to our second presentation. We've had some discussions on what we would call an empowerment center or transitional housing. And we're going to talk a little bit about the definitions of what that is and what it's not, and to solicit any feedback from the council and where we're at, and just to continue that process moving forward. At this time, I would probably have Kathy Andrews and Dustin Tomey come up, and they can walk you through where we're at on that.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As you'll recall, we have been looking at some improvements to our current facility that's located on the corner of Wildwood and 8th. And so we bid that project a couple of times just to do some reconfiguration and rehabilitation to a small building on that site. And those bids, the smallest, the least amount of bids that we had was $505,000. So as you'll recall, we talked about those bids, and the council and the mayor and Mr. Fivas asked staff to do some research and see if we could figure out a better path forward. So just want to kind of update you on what the shelter is 60 plus years old. As a matter of fact, I think it turns 60 this year, that particular, that one building that used to be an old fire station. It's not adequate for our community's needs. And it's got an upstairs and downstairs, and it's not conducive for handicap, and it's also not conducive for families. So when we did the bid on the second building, we were going to put 6 small bedrooms in there to add 24 additional beds for families. Again, that came in way too high just for that one building, and the other building needs substantial repairs. That's the one that's 60 plus years old. It needs new roof, windows, and various other things. So again, at your direction, we started seeking alternative solutions, primarily to maybe find a more suitable location and build a building. So the city obligated $100,000 of its ARP money from the American Rescue Plan, and the county has obligated $250,000 of their American Rescue Plan. So that kind of gives you a little bit of background on how we got here, where we came, and then I'm going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to let Dustin define what an empowerment center is.
We're going to tag team this presentation, so she'll be back up here. But the idea, the dream, the goal, the vision behind this whole project, what we're hoping to build is a facility that will provide transitional housing, temporary shelter, training, and congregate areas to families and individuals experiencing homelessness. And we're hoping to create a facility that will be much more conducive to providing wraparound services such as things such as case management, legal assistance, mental health counseling, medical care, substance abuse treatment, education, job training, child care, and transportation. These are some of these things that the shelter's already doing, but we want to do them in a much more robust way because of the quality atmosphere of having a new facility. Ultimately, We want to help people achieve greater self-sufficiency and experience positive transformation in their lives. And we believe a facility like this can help facilitate that. Kathy?
Thank you. No, let's move that forward. I think it's this one. Okay. All right. So we have done some due diligence. I'm going to speak about the financial due diligence. As I said earlier, we have $350,000 committed from the city and county from our ARP funding. We also have $1 million, which is an appropriation to the Care in Place made by Congressman Flashman. I'll have Corinne to come up just in a moment and speak a little bit more about that. We also have, the mayor has spoken with the Congressman's office about an additional 1.5 in congressional appropriations. And we are in partnership with the Community Foundation of the Ocoee region, and our goal is to raise at least $1 million in local donations. Dustin has had some conversation with that organization, and they're on board to help us with that. Also, a small percentage of CDBG entitlement dollars that we get every year, we can utilize a very small percentage, maybe up to 10%, to help furnish that with materials, beds, cots, and those kinds of things. And we can stack that up over a couple of years. Again, we are stacking up money. We have some committed, some promised, and we have some good ideas about how to get the rest of it. So I'm going to ask Corinne to come up and speak about this $1 million that we have committed, and I want her to talk about that a little bit more.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for the opportunity to share about this exciting opportunity to collaborate more effectively to address homelessness and housing in our community. As you are likely aware, we completed construction of our new facility last year to better help individuals moving forward on that continuum of care. We partner often with Bradley Cleveland Community Services and the emergency shelter for those essential components that our neighbors need in order to move forward. As part of that process, we were awarded an appropriations grant. We applied for that in 2022. We were told that we were awarded that in 2023. They had to change a word, so it had to go back in front of Congress. And so in 2024, we actually got to talk about using it. So that timeline, we'd already purchased our property and started construction through other donations that were designated for that. And unfortunately, at our current location, we cannot utilize the full use of this appropriation that is intended for our community to help our neighbors with upward economic mobility. We have some environmental things that are in our proximity to other businesses that we cannot clear that. And we do not feel it's good stewards of what we have been given to allow that money just to sit unused when we have neighbors who are experiencing need in our community. So in our partnership, when we saw that this was moving forward with the city council, that you guys were putting a lot of effort into looking at how to better meet these needs through our existing shelter services, and knowing the valuable work that Demetrius and his team does at the community shelter, we kind of entered into conversations to see what that would be like. In discussion with both HUD and Congressman Flashman's office, they are supportive, and our board of directors as well. Won't leave them out of there. So we are all kind of in agreement that this is a wonderful collaborative effort that we can do to, again, let's start moving that needle on homelessness in our community. And we love the fact, because our commitment, I often say that while we're providing basic resources and opportunities, really what we want to do is see an end to poverty, and we want to see an end to homelessness. I see no reason that the city of Cleveland has to have homelessness. We can solve this, and this is part of that, transitioning to a transitional housing model where there's a lot of upward economic mobility opportunities, helps those individuals to move forward in that. So we are thrilled to be able to partner and be able to contribute this portion to that. I will say we are under a little bit, because again, that timeline there, Congressman Flashman's office would love if we can get them some new numbers and a new project narrative as soon as possible. So I'm excited to work with the city and with Demetrius to be able to get that directive and get that to them. And I'll answer questions later, but I'm going to turn it back over to Kathy because she has some more things to share.
I want to personally thank Corinne for all the work she has done, she and her board, to make sure that this money stays in this community. I'm going to turn it over to Dustin now, and I want him to talk a little bit about the fundraising effort, and then you will go to the next slide, please.
So yeah, just preliminarily, we've talked with Lisa Guerin of the Community Foundation and talked about this idea, and she's very amicable and supportive of potentially starting a fund for us to raise local dollars, because that's could be a key part of how we are able to fully fund this endeavor. And I'm confident that in our philanthropic and generous community that we can raise funds for this purpose. Other due diligence that we've done, we put together a development team that's made up of Corinne from the Caring Place, Demetrius Ramsey of Bradley Cleveland Community Services, Asia Whaley, the shelter director, me and Kathy and Taylor from the city. And we have begun looking at potential sites and locations and done due diligence on that. Consideration was given to different environmental concerns. Like Corinne mentioned, there are some funding mechanisms that won't allow for us to be close in proximity to a railroad or certain levels of noise. And for a center like this, there has to be careful consideration given to that. We looked at affordability of the property, proximity to other services and public transportation, and then the ability to expand in the future. And then over the last few months, we have gone through a procurement process put out an RFQ for requests for qualifications from architectural and engineering firms that have experience in this area and that could help produce something for us that would be that we could then use for construction bidding. And we followed all state, federal, local procurement regulations, and we selected the best firm that has experience doing this. A team of city staff looked at all those, and the group that we selected, Allen and Hoschel, has experience with doing this in Memphis and has done a great job on similar projects like this.
Thank you. Okay. Next step, ASAP. We need the council to approve the contract with Allen and Hoschel so that we can bring them on board so that they can do some preliminary costs and things like that, so that we can put our proposal together to submit for the $1 million for Corinne and the $1.5 million in addition at the Congressman's office. So, and that contract will be in 2 phases. They will do some preliminary cost estimates, make some preliminary layout on the property, and eventually do the floor plans, site plans, and final design, and then help us through the construction. Once we can get through all those phases, we will, there will be other due diligence that we will have to do once we decide on the property, and of course that would be a survey, a phase 1 site assessment, a full environmental review, and a couple of other things that we would really need to do. So, so once we get Allen and Hoschel, we'll together, once we approve this contract with Allen and Hoschel, we will convene the development team with them. We will finalize site selection of the property and complete the due diligence. We will complete the design, bid out the construction, bid the new facility, and have a wonderful empowerment center serving our community. That is the end of my presentation, and we are open for questions.
Joe, why is this going to be on the agenda? I'm not seeing it for new business.
Yeah, there's an item that talks about the Empowerment Center if you wanted to add something.
Hey,
yes.
Would the first thing not be to anchor down a site, a piece of land? Would that not have to do with design work and
That is a very good question, and the way that I can answer that is that we have done a lot of looking, and we do have a site that we like, and we've had some very preliminary discussions with the owner. And the owner asked us not to reveal that publicly just yet because there's other people involved with the ownership of that property. And we're thinking and seeking a possible donation. So we do have a good piece of property in mind, and you know, the zoning is good. It is not located in our downtown central business district. We think that we can get it past we know we can get it past the NEPA, which are housing urban development requirements of any type of federal funding or state funding.
In other words, you're satisfied with the location if you can get all of the
parties involved to agree.
Together.
Correct.
And donate, purchase. What?
We're perhaps a donation.
Yeah.
I've asked for a donation.
Yeah.
Yes, I've asked for the donation.
But we don't have a timetable on that?
Just as discussion.
This is just, we need, not really. I mean, I don't know how to answer that. Maybe
We're really close. We're I think, as close as potentially
I know I'm bringing up stuff y'all know about.
Potentially as early as this summer.
Yes.
Having a site firmed up,
Mm-hmm.
location for this to be developable.
Okay. So, I mean, in my eyesight, I would think that would be the very first thing to do.
That is.
And then bring on the people for the contract to do design for that property.
We do need some preliminary cost estimates and that they can help us with so that we can start doing these grant proposals that need to be submitted to the congressman's office. Now, if we bring them on, they can reconfigure anything that we ask. This is very preliminary. So, yes.
But you're needing to know really size-wise, cost per foot.
Correct. Correct.
Stuff that
Yes.
that they can give without looking at a site. I mean, it may change.
Yes and no. The property owner has asked us if we could use a little bit of the, in this contract, and it's in the contract, to reconfigure the site because they want to keep part of the property and see if we can reconfigure and have Helen and Hoschel to look at that and to see if we can reconfigure a facility on that particular property, and also show the other owners how the other work and expansion that can be done on that other property.
So you may do the site prep and improve their property at the same time.
No, we will not improve their property. Any improvements.
Subdivide it.
We'll subdivide it. Any improvements would be, for us, would be our property.
Okay.
Councilman Estes?
So, this may be for Corinne, Dustin. Will this change your clientele?
In terms of serving better the uptick in disabled and elderly clients, it will provide a better facility for both of those populations and for families. So in terms of raw numbers, if you looked at data at the end of the year, if this was built, we would be seeing more.
Oh, I expect more, but
elderly,
higher.
Elderly, disabled, and families that the current shelters has a harder time being able to serve.
Wouldn't there be a requirement for them to be seeking services and to be like in a program to help them work through their, it's not temporary. It's not temporary. Well, it's temporary, but it's not for the person that stops by and needs a place to stay.
I'm
I'd like to invite.
Sorry, I'm going to speak to that, and Demetrius can jump in. So the answer to that is Yes, but with a caveat. HUD-based funding does currently use what's called a housing first approach. That is the best practice, evidence-based model to address homelessness. And what that means is that to enter that facility, you cannot have a barrier to entry to that facility. However, once you are in that facility, you can then have to engage in services. So it would not be upon arrival a document that you would have to sign that says you're going to do this or do that, but then the case managers would work with that. And that is something that Demetrius's team does now. And so, but the HUD-based funding, because that is where the community project funding comes through, we would need to operate the development based upon that practice.
When you talk about temporary, how many days?
That is contingent upon the person's or the family's situation. It could be 2 weeks for one person or one individual, one household, but it could be 2 months for someone else. Again, we meet clients where they are, try to address all the barriers, and then with the goal of obtaining permanent housing. Now, as we all know, affordable housing is limited here within our area, and the goal is not to just place them in permanent housing that we deem appropriate, but that they would love to live in and that they can afford and that they can maintain. So again, it depends on an individual or household's specific situation.
Case by case.
Any other? Yes, Vice Mayor.
So as part of your planning process, you have funding sources that would cover the additional operations of a facility such as this? Or you're trying to identify those?
Demetrius will be working on that, but also Demetrius now gets an ESG grant every year to help run his operations in the current shelter. And I think there's maybe some private donations that are given to help with that.
But would you anticipate the operations of the new center being covered by those donations and grants and so forth? Or will you be looking at other funding sources in the community?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes and yes. We are always looking for other funding sources as a nonprofit. And so we anticipate not only continuing and strengthening our current partnerships, but building new ones.
And we've been looking at this particular process as the city acting as like a conduit for the construction of a new facility, and that there may be potential for grants in this process that we could help them with to apply for and get, whether that's local dollars or federal grants, but they are the service provider partner with us in this that would be serving people using funds that they have been allocated and receive.
But as part of your final plan, are you going to identify those potential sources?
We would definitely work with BCCSA and the shelter to identify, unturn every rock and every place that you could to help find funding to support this at the maximum level.
Are those reliable enough that you could plan on consistent funding of the operations then?
Typically, the ESG grant is, I think he gets about $100,000, a little over $100,000. That's fairly reliable. He gets that just about every year. There are funding mechanisms through HUD and Tennessee Housing Development Agency, and that we're looking at those too to help him expand his operations. But I really don't know how to describe any other funding sources right now other than THDA.
Can I give just a thought on this? And I'm far from an expert, but I was turned on to this by City Fields and then backed up with the city stuff. Let's say the city pays for 2 more staff positions, or the city and county together. they more than make that money up when it comes to all the indirect services that these individuals cause us with police, fire, mental health, etc. It's just like cameras on the Greenway cost X, but they're saving us X times many, many more, you know, and I hate the word empowerment, but I love this idea, and I really like the idea of good money, not good money after bad.
Well, I agree with you.
And it is tough, right? We had a question just a minute ago about operations going forward on pickleball, you know, and Parks and Rec. That does community of life. It's hard to measure. This stuff can be measured, right? And numbers served, you know, the ratios, so.
Bill, I just want to be sure that we've considered all the factors in it. I support it too. We need to do something. But I don't want to get the cart before the horse without knowing that we have the ability to get that funding.
And Councilman may have been like you on the planning commission, like, shouldn't we have the lots first? But all the builders say, no, you pick your house and then you go sort the lot out. And I'm like, what? It's taken me a while to I got called old school. It's taken my mind a little to think different. So I feel you.
I am old school.
I am too, apparently.
Vice Mayor Webb, or Councilman Goff?
I just want to say, I appreciate you pointing out that you're looking for a lot that will have expansion capabilities. Cleveland's going to continue to grow, I believe, in the future. So I think we're all, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think looking at a new facility is definitely the way to go. And then having something that can be designed to have your initial building and then, you know, expansion that would complement the original structure is a good idea. So thank you.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make is site prep work is not cheap.
That's true.
And so if we end up with a piece of property, maybe it's in a great location, but the way it lays, it has to have so much site prep done to it, which totally affects the total, the end numbers.
That's correct.
And that's the reason I like to see the site before design work's done, so.
Councilman Moore?
Yeah, the ARP money, I feel like originally when we talked about it, there was a deadline for using it.
Yes, the ARP
Are we
city,
creeping up on that?
city and county money
Yes.
must be spent by December of '26.
Okay.
Yes.
Vice
And-
Mayor Webb, although it's a apples and oranges analogy, you know, the closest thing that I think of in Cleveland is actually a county facility, the Pie Center, and it was a struggle. They struggled to get the plan and they struggled to get it filled, but once they did and people saw what was possible, companies just continued, and they still continue, to want to be a part of it, to want to invest. Someone watching while we're making this presentation right now just texted me and said, I love this idea, I want to be a part of it.
Oh, I think so, and as I said, I support it.
Yeah.
I just want the funding of the operations to be part of the planning process.
Absolutely, yeah. Critical.
Yeah. I have seen facilities developed in the past and no consideration being given to what the
Day-to-day,
operations
yeah.
were going to be funded by in the future.
Well, and some grants don't allow you to use it for operational.
Right.
You have to raise that somewhere else.
It just needs to be part of the planning process.
Agreed. Thank you all. Mr. Fivas?
Yeah. So I believe that the decision point that the council needs to look at is we have a baseline plan, working on a location and site. We have we went through the RFP process and have an architect, Allen and Hoschel. I believe that contract's $42,000. And that 42 is, I think, everything, just a lot of the preliminary engineering, and I think the way it's worded that if we actually get to a project, then that 42, then what's their percentage?
7.
Then their fee is 7% of the total contract, which is a little bit lower than what you would see normally. But that 7%, this 42 would be included in that, so you wouldn't get double hit on that. But it's up to the council to kind of evaluate where we are in the process and determine, do we want to bring the consultant in to help and get some probably really important information? Or is there something that the council needs before we do that? We do have an item on the agenda today. It's kind of a placeholder. If you wanted to do something today, if you wanted us to get some information in 2 weeks, it's just, that's kind of the decision point of when to pull the trigger on Allen and Hoschel on bringing them on board to help us.
Yeah, Joe, it's kind of which came first, chicken or the egg. This contract with this company, would it help for us to get donations, grant money maybe? I don't know.
For the contract?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, after you bring them on and they start giving you numbers.
Yes.
And
Yes.
can we use that for maybe applying for grants and?
Yeah, what they can probably do is they can probably give us a real life cost estimate. They can probably come up with actual renderings of what we're trying to sell, and then you would have the business plan associated with that, and you would have kind of what the facility is for. They can help put a lot of that together, and that's what you would go and sell to funders. If there are other grants available that you can apply for, and that type of detail is probably required. Probably just the decision point is where are we in the process from the council standpoint of, hey, are we ready to go, or do you need more information? If you need more information, tell us what you need and we'll get it. But if you're ready to pull the trigger on this, we do have money allocated to that.
Yeah.
We have the ARP money that could be used for that.
So you kind of need show and tell to show prospective grants and donations.
Yes, all federal funding and just about any state funding that I have ever worked with requires a preliminary architectural or engineering report to go with that grant. And what that does, it gives you cost estimates and things that you can do, and you have to have that to be able to put in your proposal. The $1 million and the $1.5 million require that we do that. Now, they can help us with the initial things to get us to the get us through the grant application process. We can hold them off on doing anything else, and we don't pay them for what they don't do. Even though we have a $42,000, $43,000 contract with them to do this initial work, we won't pay them until the work is done. So our first process is to get the information, cost estimates, preliminary cost estimates, and those kinds of things, so that we can put together good grant applications and good proposals.
Councilman Goff?
Do we feel that we have an understanding of what we need versus what we have? I mean, square footage, and I'm
Yes.
assuming Allen and Hoschel could provide some sort of, it's approximately $400 a square foot, and we need this many square feet. What does that number look like?
Well, when we did the request for statement of qualifications, we said a 6,000 to 8,000 square foot building. We really don't know if that is enough, but we had to start with a number. So it could be 8,000 to 10,000 square feet. Yes, and when they get in here, they have the experience in doing this, and they're going to know how much is. They'll do the preliminary cost estimates for us to put in a budget, and anything else that we need for that grant application package. And again, we can stop them right there until we are ready to move to the next step.
So you're relying on them to tell us what we need. You're going to give them the inputs of how many people and services and expect them to kind of come with the output of what you want to build?
That is correct.
Councilman Cassada?
Did you have any thought about how many beds that you're looking at? Did y'all consider that at all?
There was some discussion, what did we say, 75 up to 100?
Correct.
75 up to 100.
75.
And then if this project comes to fruition, we will construct that and configure that on the property where you have expansion opportunities in 10, 12, 15 years, whatever.
Ms. Andrews or Mr. Fivas, I have a timing and logistical question. Because we are partnering with the county in a similar way we did with the urban growth, do they also have to vote on an Allen and Hoschel contract?
They do not. The contract is with the city.
Okay.
So, you think they're in on funding to help?
Yes.
Other than what we've got, yeah.
Oh, other than what we have?
Yeah.
We have not had that discussion with them yet, but we know that we have $250,000 from them, yes.
I'm sure there will be.
And we're gonna spend their money first.
Yeah.
She's just joking.
All right, any other questions from the council?
Ken?
Yes.
We have to have land before we do the Allen Hustle?
No, we do not,
We do
no,
not, okay.
no.
So they're gonna design something that can go on any property that we would present?
Pretty much, yes, they are, yes.
But
All right.
the main thing you'll get out of them probably is a rendering of the way that they think it should look, will look.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
that's what you will use to, that and the facts and figures that they give you on cost per foot and that you can use for purposes of.
Grant applications
Yeah.
and these appropriation proposals, yes, yes.
Councilman Moore?
So will today's item discuss approving that contract, Joe? it's vague.
If the council added it to the agenda, it would.
I'd like to add it.
Can we see it? We have it here today?
Yes.
Okay. That is a proper motion.
All right. Any more questions? Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything, I mean, we'll get copies of that. Do you have copies of that, Allen and Hoschel?
Yes, I do have it right here.
Yeah, we'll have copies for it, but do you want to just go through and just
Sure. All right, let's
since we
see.
got time?
Let's see. So what I did with Allen and Hoschel, I negotiated that we would do this in their contract would be in 2 phases. So phase 1 would be, this is bullet points that I have in it. They would meet with the city staff to review and document programmatic needs of the facility. They will develop a program document with all catalog spaces, amenities, and requirements of the facility. Develop a schematic floor plan of the facility along with basic building concepts to help commute design intent. Analyze the project site proposed and develop a schematic site plan using the floor plan. Develop and to make sure that the proposed site will fit the property. And they'll talk about the zoning, utilities, a lot of the zoning and things like that we already know. Develop a cost estimate for the facility and a proper format for the grant applications. Produce deliverables to assist with the grant applications, which might include floor plans and site plans. Okay, so once we get some of that done and we can move forward with our grant applications, then they know that if we don't get the funding in place and if we don't get, we cannot get a site, then that contract ends. So if we do get it to construction, that whole entire, it's 7% of the construction cost. And it's pretty much spelled out right here.
And Mr. Fivers, you're going to have copies for the council between the very brief upcoming break.
Yep, we'll work on that right now.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Fivers, that takes us to item C, and you said we have until item N as in Nancy. Wow.
We need a time extension. The Hot Cluster, do you want to come and give a brief update on that?
Oh, lots of exciting things going on today. And the Hot Soul Festival was certainly an exciting day last week ago, Saturday. It was a beautiful day. 8,000 to 10,000 people came out and had a wonderful time with 150 vendors, artists, live music, all kinds of food, and all kinds of hot slaw. So thank you so much for being our partner on this with Main Street. Visit Cleveland TN, as well as Artists Here Partnership. The city was a major partner with us, and we appreciate it so much. Staff was incredibly helpful. Fire, police, Tommy's crew, parks and building maintenance, Brian Turner's group. It was all just a huge help, and it was a wonderful event, and I know everyone had a great time. So we had for the first time a tie in the hot dog hot slaw eating contest. I always say that wrong. The 10 hot dogs for 2 people in exactly 10 minutes. So they had a tiebreaker, and one guy was able to eat 2 more, and the other guy was not. But it was a great day, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Was that Dan?
Who was the winner in the hot sauce?
Yeah.
Who was me?
So Food City was the pro winner, and a lady named Donna Brown was the amateur winner.
It was a great day. I like how the event was held between Ocoee and Broad, where it didn't shut off Broad, and it was held over, kind of on this side. Also, the use of the art alley. I saw a lot of people that really enjoyed going through there, and very unique.
Yes, we had Bradley County art classes had their own art display in the art alley, so all that tied together really well. So thank you. All right, well, thank you so much. We look forward to next year, always the first Saturday in April.
Thank you, Sharon.
Sharon, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that deserve a lot of credit for that, but Melissa, Artists Here, Sharon, Patty Pettit and her team all did a tremendous amount of work to make that a reality. And this was actually, if you recall, this was actually a council-generated thought of having a spring festival, and now it's the state food, they tell me, and I think it provides some wonderful family fun, so we appreciate that. Another great event we have is the Great Strides Race. They had an unbelievable turnout. Want to thank, we had 26 police volunteers that worked and helped keep everyone safe. I think we had 17 runners from the fire department in there, and just the working with Lee and all the other great partners. It was an amazing day and opportunity. I don't know if Bill wants to say anything, but we just want to thank all the partners that are available. It's such a wonderful event, bringing people from all across the region, and I think that a lot of credit goes to the organizers for that. Soccer agreement.
One comment. It is back to pre-COVID numbers, that's really telling, because COVID took a big hit out of everything, but it makes the Hot Slaw Festival makes me think Cleveland, everything kind of getting back to the direction it was on a bigger picture citywide. Thank you.
We are in the downward stretch of having a new agreement with the Soccer Association that will cover us for another number of years. So I will probably provide that to you all this week, likely, potentially for action at April 28th. And it has a lot of new items in there. It has Dwayne's lights in the parking lot, and a lot of different caveats, and I think it's should continue. I think they have nearly 1,000 kids registered this year for the soccer association. So it's if you haven't seen the traffic out there, it's amazing. So I'll go through a lot of these items. I'm going to have CPD come back and the chief and talk a little bit about their. In 2024, our overall crime was down by total of 15%, which is below the 3-year average. And from 24 to 25, the overall crime decreased by 40%. So we'll have them come in and talk about their statistics, and I'll email this to people. And I think it's an important thing to talk about trends and what they're seeing and all of those good items. This year, for our provider that does our insurance, they gave us a $52,000 check back for our coverages, so I think that always helps. That
A rebate.
A rebate for our services for the public entity partnerships. Another thing, we're going to pay the bills. Another thing that we'll talk more about in the future is that we were identified, and we'll have an item on the next agenda probably to talk about this, is that there was we're the only community in Tennessee identified as being a priority coverage gap for traffic safety. The federal highway people have identified us as having a higher number of traffic accidents and incidents, and we're working internally to come up with a plan on how to address those multifaceted. Some of it is working on infrastructure, some of it's working on different elements that involve traffic safety, but we'll bring back a report to look at some of those items. One thing that we did not, that on the agenda today, that we're going to talk about is, well, I'll talk about that when we get to the agenda. We are having a number of conversations with our animal control folks. They've expressed that they can see the end of our animal shelter facility without some improvements or upgrades. It's becoming dated and has some issues. But we have, in lieu of that, we've been talking with an organization that's been working on developing a new partner facility driven by private donors, and we've been having conversations with them and probably bring back that conversation in the future. Reminder that Johnston Park, May 12th at 11:30, we'll have the grand opening for that facility. And then the Mayor's Tree Initiative / Arbor Day / Bee City USA Day will be held April 25th at 1:30 at Arnold Elementary School. It should be a fun day with working with students, a lot of those issues. And I think that encapsulate my announcements. If you want, Mayor, I can go very quickly through the agenda and hit the high points.
Yes, sir. We have 11 minutes.
Okay. We have 3 public hearings. Been some. One thing is item A. There'll probably be more conversations. We'll wait for those public hearings to go through there. And that will probably be a discussion point that we'll probably have on there. That was turned down by the Planning Commission. We have item 7A, which is authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Metal America. This is a prefabricated building that we had purchased. This is just reallocating the funds, that there was multiple vendors in there, and it's a way how we can pay people. Probably doesn't, it's paperwork on making sure that we have our financing in line from what the auditors do. 7D, authorizing the city to purchase equipment for facilities maintenance. Our Kubota died that does a lot of our greenway type facilities, so this would be a replacement. It was purchased on state contract. Accepting of roads in Spring Creek and accepting of roads in Brookmore Trail. The information's in the packet. We have the motion to approve the current paving contract with Tally Construction for additional. We have a 2-year contract. This is accepting the second year. And then we have item 7G, approving the land lease agreement with City Fields for property at 756th Street for the purpose of operating a community garden. This is a lease agreement. They want to, and they already have some parts of it. They want to have a pretty decent sized community garden over there with a pavilion, with a lot of issues associated with that. Been working with City Fields and Mr. Kimball on that. They've agreed to this. I think David was here. Did you have any comments or thoughts?
I can share.
Come on up. Make it quick.
I'll just take a moment and say thank you for considering this land lease agreement. Inside the agreement, there's language that covers what we will be doing in that property, the insurance for that property, and any construction costs that we will come across as we've submitted a rendering for the pavilion that we wish to construct there. We have a bid on that pavilion also, and are making plans right now for the concrete to go under that. But everything is found in that land lease agreement. We've agreed to it and sent it back to the city. So the reasons that we want to do this is to continue the work that we've started in the College Hill area and provide, number one, a healthy alternative to not having a grocery store nearby, and to give families the opportunity for a place to gather that's safe and healthy to source food, but also to have community events there. And you can go by and see the raised beds that we've constructed and had several different volunteer groups come to do that. We'll be doing just some more work in some work that we started a couple of years ago there and having the opportunity to have this property. So we're grateful for the opportunity to do it and grateful for your consideration as you look a little deeper at that agreement. So,
thank you. Then we have change orders for Jim Sharp Park and change orders for the City Hall, and we don't have time to go through all those. I would suggest, Mayor, that just so that we're all on the same page, before we put those items or discuss before you vote on that, let us go through what those are, just in full transparency. Then we have the annexation interlocal agreement on the April 3rd meeting. We went through in gory details over that, and if anyone has any questions, we can certainly address them. And then you have the item on 10E that would have to be added to the agenda. A couple more quick announcements and then we're done. We're getting much closer to a closing on the Whirlpool property, which is a good thing. We are seem to be getting closer and closer to getting our FRA, Federal Railroad Administration contract obligated. I've had a number of conversations with those folks. We may need help with our federal senators and representatives if we run into any issues. We'd like to have that obligated before the Whirlpool property closes. So we'll keep everyone in the loop on that. We don't anticipate any issues with any of that, but just to be aware of that. And I also saw Haggerty's, Senator Haggerty's person walk in the room, so I'm just mentioning that. I will, that's my report, and outside of the change orders, I think we're good.
Great. Mr. Fivas, would you recommend moving the change orders, both for Jim Sharp and City Hall, to the new business?
Yeah, let's make them A and B.
So I have a motion.
Motion made.
Second.
All right, so we will move those to items A and B under new business. And that will just shift everything down as far as annexation or local and ordinance 2025-14. Thank you, Mr. Fivas, for both your report and the review. I had a motion from Councilman Castro to move our reports from council members to the 3 o'clock meeting, if that is okay. There are no other further announcements or any other comments from the council?